testing and performance optimization.
Yeah.
How you good in performance optimization and unit testing?
Yes, yeah. Regarding the unit cases, basically we have 3 steps in unit cases, right? One is like arrange, act, and assert. In the arrange, we just try to set up the environment. Like if you have used any services, we mark the service for the component. So then we have act. Basically, in the component, we used to write some of the functions and all. And if we have services, we write a couple of methods, right? So what we do, when we call this particular function, what we let's just in the act phase we just call the function. Then in the assert, we make sure like the output is what we exactly what we are expecting. That is the third phase. And this is all about the unit test cases. If you ask about the improvement, right, performance improvement, see, we can use the lazy loading. That's how we load the module. It will be basically like lazy load, what we say, on demand loading. If for example, it's a check warranty, we have created a check warranty module. Okay, here on the basically when we load the front page or the home page, we don't want that module to load. It will unnecessarily add the load on the page, right, on the initially. So when user navigate to that particular path, when it is /check-warranty, basically we load the particular module. So in this way, on demand, we load the complete module, the respected module and its component. Also the service related to it. Basically, how we do it, like in the route path, as a load children, we just give the module name and we load it. Apart from that, like what we can do, we can avoid memory leaks. When we have the subscription to the observable, right, we just try to unsubscribe it. So should kill the reference. By this way, we will, once we navigate from one component to another component, only the things like the subscription which are not required, we'll subscribe to it. In this way, we can avoid the memory leak as well. And apart from that, like we'll write common CSS, very common CSS in style.css, just to make sure like all the component which the CSS which we write, which will be not written every component. Apart from that, we write common services. So if we have a couple of modules or the features, some of the things which are common to all the features. So what we do, we write that in common services to maintain, like for the reusability. This way, we can improve the performance of the page.
Okay. So in JavaScript you have, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, coming to Angular, what is the difference between constructor and ngOnInit?
ngOnInit, okay. Constructor will be called very first. Basically, if you want to inject any services, right, dependency we generally do in constructor. And ngOnInit, this is a lifecycle hook that will be initiated when components start initialization. Is in this place, right? Basically, we used to if you want to make an API call and all, right? We just call this function from the service we initiate it in the ngOnInit. Basically, all the functions or any methods you want to call it in the page load, that generally we do in ngOnInit, and it calls only once. Both are only like only once. Yeah.
So what is the difference between promises and observable?
Promise and observable. Promise are like it can resolve only once. Okay, for the single stream of async data, right, we can use promises. If you have like a data stream, then we can go for observable, and we cannot cancel the promises, but we can unsubscribe the subscription, the observable. That is the difference. Yeah.
Okay.
Observable, like we have is like very strong. Basically, all the HTTP calls returns observable, right? And we also, if you talk about the data sharing, right, we can also go for subject. We have a very impressive concept in subject. Like if we are using observable, it will be unidirectional. Like observer cannot emit data to observable, but in subject it works as both. Like even the observer can emit the data, and observable is like shares the new copy to the each observer, but in case of subject it says the same copy of the data. And also like if the code get executed, even in the observable, it has to have at least one observer, then only the code get executed. But in case of subject, right, even if you don't have any observer, it can emit the data. The values can be broadcasted. Yeah.
What is the difference between pure pipe and impure
In pure
pipe?
pipe, generally we use pure pipe. There is the main difference is in impure, it get called whenever the Angular detects the change, and it cause performance issue. We generally try to avoid the impure pipe. There is a major difference between pure and pure pipe. Yeah.
So what is the difference between AOT and JIT?
AOT is like ahead of time compiler. Generally, we do use for production. JIT is for the development purpose. AOT is like it compiles the code, like the overall project code will be compiled here, and then it will be downloaded by the browser and run executed. But in case of just-in-time compiler, right, we generally done in browser, and also the respective modules or the specific components which are required for the initial load will be compiled here. And the major difference is like if you have build error and all, you can get it in AOT. In the compilation time itself, you will find it. If you go for JIT, you will see that in the display time.
Okay. So so can you explain that lifecycle hooks in Angular?
Sure. First, as we discussed, like the constructor get loads, then we have ngOnInit, which will be called only once when the component is initialized, and then we have ngOnChanges, where it will be called when it detects changes in the inputs. Then we have ngDoCheck. This get called every time whenever the Angular detects the changes. Whether it could be like we used to bind the events, right? Even the click event can trigger this. And then we have ng after content in it. This will be loaded only once when the content is projected. Basically, the changes which is detected in the content child and content children, right? That will be handled here. Then we have content child checked. Sorry, ng after content checked. This will be called every time whenever Angular the content is projected, and also it detects the changes in this content child and children. Then we have ng after ViewInit. This will be called only once when the component view is fully loaded. Also when component or its child components are fully view is completely loaded. Then we have ngDestroy. Basically, we used to whenever we have a subscription and all, we used to unsubscribe it when we navigate to other modules or route path. In this case, we used to use the ngOnDestroy as well.
Okay. So what is the dependency injection?
Yeah, dependency injection is like we are injecting that service to the component. So if you use dependency injection, the single instance is shared across the component. In the if we provide that in the module level, right? Basically, the single instance will be shared across the component to make that service
So
available
what
in
is
the
the
component views. Yeah, sorry.
okay? So what is the difference between authentication and authorization?
Authentication is like if we put username and password and we authenticate that is a authenticated user or not. We will cross check the username and password and will tell a user is authenticated or not. Authorized is like if you have a API, basically this if it had a authorized header, will certify that like a backend will check that this API is coming from the authorized network, then it will validate it and give the response back.
What is the HTTP interceptors?
HTTP interceptors is like this special type service. Basically, it used to for intercepting the calls which are going from front end to back end or coming from back end. So the best use case will be like we have used this for the loading the screen. Whenever we click on any pages or any item, right? If you are making any API call, there might be a second or 2 seconds it will take to get a response. By that time, we start initiating the loader screen. Whenever we get the response back, we'll stop it. Usually, we have a method in the HTTP interceptor. We have a method called intercept. It takes 2 parameters, request and then next. Request will be type of HTTP request, then next will be HTTP handler. So in this way we can use it. Yeah.
So okay, what is the server side rendering in Angular?
SSR, like it's kind like generally in SS server side rendering is like we don't do because we have a lot of dynamic data in our application, right? If you have static web pages, then we can do this SSR. Basically, it will optimize and it will load faster, as well as like it's also SEO friendly because all the HTML structure you can see in the web page, right? In the initial, it will load very quickly. That is like we can enable this SSR and we can deploy these changes.
What is the service we can
service like
in Angular?
With the help of subject in service, right? We used to share the data among the two not related components. If it's related components, then we use like parent-child relationship, right? We use input to parent from child. If we want to send the data from child to parent, then we emit the event by output. But if we have some component which are not related, in this case we use service. We write some of the methods here. We in the use of subject we can share the data as well.
Okay. So what are modules in Angular?
Yeah, like we have features wise applications, right? Like I said, check warranty is HP is a complete support side web page. Then we have a specific module called check warranty. For check warranty, what we do, we have certain service. We have to create certain services and component. We store that in module. That will be a bundle, and this will load in lazy loading. If user is navigating to check warranty page, then we load check warranty module. If user is loading like navigating to dashboard, then we have a specific module to that. This will combinedly have all the services or the dependency common services or like pipes and everything, like whatever it's required for the component and all, right? That we store in the module level, so we can load it on demand.
In Angular, if I want pass data from one component to another component, how can I pass?
Yeah, same way, like what I said, right? If it is parent, it has two components, have parent and child relationship. From parent to I can use input and I can share the parent data to child. If you want to share the data from the child to parent, what we can do, we can emit the data from child to parent. And if we have two components which are not related, then what we can do, we can use the subject with the help of services, we can pass the data.
What is the view child?
ViewChild is like if you want to control any of the child component or the element, what we can do, we can use ViewChild. We will give a reference there, and in the constructor we'll get the element ref, and then we'll modify the data or the component or the methods in the component. This we can manipulate.
Okay. View encapsulation. What is the view encapsulation?
Yeah, view encapsulation is a bit like the styles which we write in the component level, right? That will be applicable only for the component. So by defaultly, we will be having view encapsulation dot emulated. That's the default one. That means like the styles which we write for the component, that will be applied only for that component. If you make it none, then the styles which we write from the component, that will be available for across the application. If we use dot shadow DOM, right, then what is the special one? Like what Angular does, it will create a shadow DOM copy of it. Then even the CSS, like style.css, if you write, that will be applicable for all the applications, right? All the components. But in case of shadow DOM, even those CSS written in style.css will be not applicable. Only the CSS which are written in shadow DOM will be, like the component will be affected.
For responsive, how you are handling?
We write media queries. Generally, we try, if we have a div and all, right? If the div size is greater than 280 or 300 width, we generally don't give it in pixel. So if we give it in like the percentage, the less code can be written in the media query. So we'll try to avoid it by giving width in percentage and giving in min width. So we'll write minimal media query at 767, or like if required, very required, then 480. Yeah.
Okay. So what is the difference between authentication and authentication already? Local storage and session storage?
Local storage is like if you refresh the page as well, the data which is there in the local storage will still be there. But in case of session storage, it will lost. If you close the tab, it will be gone. And the data which is stored in the session storage cannot be shared among the different tabs, but local storage can.
If I want at a time call more than 2 API in parallel, how can I call?
Parallel. We can use fork join. Fork join, like in the last project, right, where we had a requirement, like what we need to have, when we do the doc migration, we need to have content response as well as metadata. So in this both, if we don't have both, then we will be redirecting the user to 404. So what I have done, like I have used fork join. So for what fork join will do, it will take array of like the HTTP calls, then it will return the values in the array format itself. So if any one fails, then it will throw an error. So
what type of like Angular things, like what type of Angular components and those things you have used in your project?
Yeah. You're talking about the version of the Angular?
Version, and then like
what all, basically, right? Yeah.
Operators and
got it. Yeah. Like currently working in Angular 15, like have used components, modules, services, intercept, pipes, directives, these kind of stuff. I also worked with subjects in services. Apart from that, like I also worked with NGRS store. These kind of things I have worked in Angular.
Okay. Can you tell me difference between SwitchMap and MergeMap?
Sure. Yeah. I'll give an example for a switch case. Sure. Basically, one use case where I use is like for the search box. We had a requirement to, as soon as user start typing, right, we'll make an API call and get the results. So here I use SwitchMap as like as user, like I also use debouncing time here for the buffer 100 milliseconds. As soon as users type paper, right, we'll make a call. And in this case, if we get new observable here, it will cancel the previous one and move to the next one. Is like switch map, and merge map is like it will wait till all the observable get complete and then it will give the result.
What type of pipes you have created? Custom pipes?
Yeah, a custom pipe. I have created one safe HTML pipe. Basically, some places we had a requirement to show the HTML skeleton that will be getting from the API response. So before putting that in the inner HTML, I'll just created a pipe. So it will check whether it has any special symbols or not. If we have, then it will remove it and will sanitize the HTML part. So I have used the pure pipe. Basically, the Impure, it reduces the performance of the browser, like the application, right? So yeah, I have used the pure pipe. It has a method called transform where it will take input and transfer the data. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me about forms and have you used dynamic forms by any chance?
Yeah, dynamic form is a reactive form, right?
No, more than that. Yeah.
I have used
it is a JSON.
reactive form and template even both, but
Okay.
not.
Yeah. Can you tell me about reactive forms? Like why we prefer over template?
If you have a simple form to a username and password or just say a submit button, we will go with temple driven. If we have a complex form like we have what we had right in check warranty, we had two options, single and multiple. Multiple pay we used to submit serial number, and based on the serial number, if it is non-unique one, then we show the product number. And also we had the warranty start dates. These three information used to take. If you click on there was a button to add item. User can get the details of up to 20 items. On clicking on this will populate one more block. So like this, in this scenario we have used reactive forms.
Okay. Can you tell me about router state?
Yeah. You mean router state or events?
Yeah, like what exactly is the router state? Maybe the activate and those types.
Okay, route guards you are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to protect certain routes, basically I'll give you an example. In the check warranty itself, we had an option to dispute the warranty. So when you click on the directly, user cannot go to that particular route. So user has to click on the dispute warranty link to navigate to that page, because on loading this form, right, the dispute warranty form, it used to pre-populate the user information like a name, phone number, email address, and some of the field user has to enter. So before routing to this, we check whether user has valid session or not. If we user has a valid session, logged in session, then only we navigate to this and we retrieve the information and will pre-populate it. So I have done this using can activate. So it has a method called can activate where it returns a boolean based on if user has a valid session, will returning true or not false. Yeah.